Well, what is going on? Welcome back to Clayton Schick Outdoors. Of course, I'm Clayton Schick. This is 100% the outdoors, and today's mission is sharpshooting lake trout. I'm going to give you 5 tips to make it better or easier for you the next time you go out or want to get into sharpshooting lake trout. So let's get in the boat and get things rolling. Got fish here by this rock. I'm going to do a pivot turn because I'm going forward into the waves. So I'm going to put in reverse. I'm going to slowly do like a complete perfect 180. Control the back of the boat into the waves, because that is how you're going to have your best boat control. You can dump the back of your boat into the waves every time. Obviously you can use spot lock, it'll help, it'll work too, but oh, I got him down. Hook set on him. Okay, I wasn't expecting that to happen so fast, but it definitely did. Got a horrible hook set on him, but maybe got a second hook set. Just a little guy, I believe. Yeah, just a little guy. Okay, well, we're on the board anyway. I won't even show him off, he's just a little guy. So, still got fish below me here. And now I've got the back of my boat into the wind, which is key for sure for perfect boat control. And like I said, a spot lock would work, but this you can just be more mobile with. You can move around quicker without having to use your trolling motor. Now you can put your trolling motor in, slowly move around and spot lock in each separate spot, but you want to get really good at this, practice with your tiller motor, because that's what's really going to make you a better angler eventually. Coming down the structure is always easier than going up the structure, like into the wind type of thing, but you can pivot yourself around in a 180, can work quite well. So tip 1 is definitely good boat control. It's easy when it's flat out, but when it's a little bit windier, you have to work on your boat control even more. So like I said, tip 1 is really good boat control. Oh, that fish was meeting me as it's dropping down. Doing my pivot right now. Bait's falling quick, which is another key ingredient to sharpshooting lakers, is a heavy bait. He just ate it. He ate it as I popped it up. A heavy bait is another key ingredient for sharpshooting lakers. You need something to get down there quick. Another little guy right here, but that's okay. Okay, 2 little guys. Perfect eater right there. So why a heavier bait? A heavier bait's going to fall at a faster rate towards the fish. I recommend like a 2-ounce bait. At the smallest, a 1-ouncer, a 2-ouncer is just gonna fall that much quicker. I'm actually running a 3 right now. So I'd say like a 2 to a 3-ounce tube jig. If you're gonna run something bigger, like a Bondi bait, you're gonna wanna up that size, like a 4 to a 5-ouncer. Rattle bait falls really slow unless it's really heavy. Frostbite does have a new, I believe it's like 10-ouncer out there. I haven't even used yet. We're gonna do a video with that at some point, but that's another really good option. I'm assuming, I haven't caught anything with it yet because I haven't used it, but it'll fall fast. A bait with a fast fall rate to get down to those fish as quick as possible. Because sometimes when you're backing up on them, you drive on them and you put in reverse and you stop and you get right on top of them, you have limited time where that fish is. Because if they're cruising, you got to get down to them as quick as you can so they can see your bait. So tip 2 is a quick falling bait, heavy baits. And if you are looking for a really heavy, fast falling tube jig, send it outdoors. You can use code Clayton and it'll save you like 10% off. The link will be listed below, but I've been running those tube jigs now for the whole last winter and now into summer, and they're very durable. You can catch a pile of fish on them before they get torn up. I casted right to that fish. That was wicked. And it hit as it was falling. Oh, that was cool. Well, that's not sharpshooting. Well, technically it is sharpshooting. That's funny. Well, kind of sharpshooting, but kind of not. I casted. It's technically a sharpshooting because I did see it on the graph and then I casted to it. See ya. Oh, that mark shot right down. He's very interested. That one. Okay. That was a little bit awkward. And it's small. And it's small. But that's okay. That's okay. Gotta get some little guys before we get some big guys. So tip number 3, and bear with me because I know it's windy and hopefully I don't make you guys dizzy, but a good setup. A good rod and a reel setup. Whether you're gonna do a bait casting setup or a spinning rod setup, you want something that is a heavy power. This one's actually a mag heavy power. This rod is from Elliott. It's a 7'9", mag heavy, moderate fast. You don't want a rod that's just moderate action for jigging, but you also don't want something that's just strictly fast or fast action. You want something that you can pop it still without it feeling like your rod has to load a pile, which would be like a moderate rod where you'd have to really load your rod before that bait would leave the bottom. But you also want that something in between when you're fighting these lake trout that you're gonna have enough absorption for their head shakes. If you have a fast or an extra fast action rod, you're gonna have most of your bend in your tip of your rod instead of further down into the blank, and that is going to cause you to lose a lot of fish during the fight. Their head shakes are vicious. So a good rod, match it to the size of bait that you're using, and then a good reel, whether you use like a higher power, say a Stratic, or this one is a Tranx, something where you can lock down your drag a little bit and fight the fish when it's your turn, because the bigger ones will kick your butt. And even though you can't pull the drag out on a 3000 or 4000 Stratic by hand, they'll be able to pull it out with when they're running. I say Stratic because that's like the spinning reel I use is usually like a size 3 or a 4000 Stratic. This is the 300 size Tranx. And with this, when I'm jigging, I use anywhere from 30 to 50 pound braid. I'm running Sufix 131 G-Core. It's been a big fan of it for the last 3 years now. I started to use it when it first came out and I haven't changed back. It's smooth casting. It's nice when you grab onto it and kind of manhandle the fish a little bit. Right now I'm running a really long fluorocarbon leader, so I'm not gonna have to grab the braid and kind of manhandle it all. I'm talking about like around the boat. And a good fluorocarbon leader as well. This is a 25 pound Sufix Advanced leader. It's actually not a leader, it's fluorocarbon, so it's 25 pound advanced fluorocarbon. I don't run the actual leader material, I just buy a whole thing, a 200 yard spool of advanced fluorocarbon. I'm running 25 pound, I'll run 20, and then if I'm running even a bigger bait, I'll run 30 pound. When I'm trolling, I'll run heavier, 50, 80, depending on what I'm trolling in terms of like rocks and all that. But for jigging, I'm running anywhere between a 20 to a 30 pound. I'm connecting the braid to the fluoro right here with an FG knot. I'll post a link to a video below that I found the best way to tie it from I think it's Saltwater Experience. I think their site is called their YouTube channel. That's the best way I found to tie it. The FG knot is one of your best line to braid combinations. It's what all the guys in the saltwater use, chasing GTs, all that. And it slides through your guides and your reel really nice. So learn how to tie an FG knot and you won't regret it. So a good rod, a good reel, and a good line. You have to have good equipment to chase big mama lake trout. Oh, they're chasing the bait around. That is awesome. Really neat to watch. That will lead me to tip number 4 actually, is good electronics. Now you don't have to have live imaging to sharpshoot lake trout. It's just a little bit of a bonus. I used to and still do a lot of sharpshooting lake trout with 2D imaging. Good, oh I just got thumped. Good 2D imaging is probably more important than good live imaging. I got thumped and then a bad hook set. I'm getting wrecked here by all these fish that were chasing that bait around. I still use my 2D a pile, even though I have live imaging. You can usually rip around a little bit quicker without having to take the live imaging in and out of the water. You can go through a spot real quick, say, yeah, they're here. You can drop on them. Now I kind of like go up to the fish when I can see him like 60, 70 feet away, and go up to him slow. Before with 2D, and I still do it lots, is I just drive until I mark fish, pop it in reverse, get back on top of them, drop it straight down. The other thing a good electronics will do for you is either you have a good map of the area, like Angler's Edge Mapping makes excellent maps for a lot of the lakes that I fish, Athapapiscow, Clearwater. They've got some other things in the works as well. So a good mapping is really good. If the lake is uncharted, there's a lot of, or all the units now make a program that you can map as you go. Humminbird's is called Auto Chart. On Garmin, I believe it's called Quick Draw. I don't know what it's called on the Lowrance, but they all have mapping programs, so you can create a map as you go, because a lot of times that map is what's going to help you find those lake trout. Like today, I'm fishing a lot of like mid-lake humps that are close to deep water type of thing. And you know, as soon as you can figure out the program for the day, then you can match it and go around the whole map or the whole lake and fish those certain areas. I haven't found anything really good yet for a program. I'm just still kind of trying to figure things out. But because of having some mapping in this area that I'm fishing, I can bounce around from different spots, you know, take a gander at each thing, fish a flat for a little while, fish a good steep drop off, fish a gradual drop off, fish a hump that's close to deep water. Like I said, there's a bunch of different, you know, options you have out there in terms of the fishing, but a good electronics is probably tip 4. It is one style of fishing that you have to have electronics for. A lot of the fishing I do, I say that you don't need live imaging, you don't need fancy electronics to do it when you're casting out for walleye, that type of thing. But sharpshooting Lakers is definitely one thing you're going to need some good electronics for. If anybody is interested in which live scope I'm running, this is actually their newest one out. This is the LVS 62. It's a little bit better for deeper water. You can see your lure and your fish from a lot farther away compared to the traditional live imaging. Mega Live is horrible for seeing your fish, or seeing your bait anything below 30 feet. I can't say I really fished that fish too hard once I had him. Once you get below 30 feet with Mega Live, it sucks. It's not very good at all. I know Active Target from Lowrance is pretty good for tracking your bait from further away, and the live scope is unreal. The 62 is like next level for seeing your bait from farther away. I was testing a little bit and I could see my bait from 150 to 160 feet away at times if I wanted to. I went through really deep water, just dropped down to see if I could see my jig, and yeah, I could. It's really, really cool. So good electronics, like I said, is all that, and LVS 62 is what I'm running. If you're not going to do a lot of deep stuff though, I'd say like past like 50, 60 feet, the LVS 34 from Live Scope would be the Live Scope setup I would recommend. Look at that. Oh, I snagged him by accident. I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. He took a swipe at it and it missed. Oh, that was so cool, but I definitely snagged him by accident. That was so cool. Ah, darn it. They're so powerful when they get snagged. That was so cool. He kept swiping at it. Ah, get in here. That was an accident. I did not mean to snag that fish at all. He was swiping at it and it just missed. I saw some fish on the live imaging and cast out to it and then just reeled it in, and the fish was chasing it up. I should maybe put on like a Bondi bait or something, or a big twister tail like I've done some videos in the past, and cast for him right now, because that thing came screaming in at that bait. That was so cool. And he's like a medium-sized fish, so he's going to be a pain in the neck to get in. At least it's not a great big one. Sorry, buddy. Did not mean to snag you. They have so much power when they're not hooked in their mouth. Too much power. And snagged right by the boat too, right? I'm going to net you so I can get you unhooked. I think. Maybe I'll just grab him right here and I'll unhook him quick. Yeah, I'll unhook you right here. Sorry, buddy. Did not mean to do that. I'll keep your tail in the water so you don't get any propulsion, and yeah, okay. See ya. You'll be okay. Well, that was not intentional, but it was really cool just to see it by the boat, and I'll probably keep that clip in there just how you can see it was just sharking it. But yeah, whoops. Oh, follow me down. It's been a while since I've even dropped down on a fish. Oh, picked it up. Picked it up. Oh, still not big, but it's a fish. It has been probably close to 2 hours before I've dropped on a fish, which leads me to tip number 5, and that's patience. You need lots of patience when you're sharpshooting Lakers, because when it's off, it's off. When it's on, and it's good. But when it's off, it's off. I should probably show one of these fish off, because I think I've let everyone go at the boat today. Maybe I've shown one other one off. As you can see today, I haven't even scored anything big yet. I think I've only caught 5 or 6 lake trout total, and I've been fishing for close to probably 6 hours now. Like I said, I drove around for almost the last 2 hours just trying to mark them. I couldn't even mark them. But the fact that you can drive at higher speeds, like 3.5 to 5 mile an hour, and look for them, you're going to cover a bunch of water. That's the difference between trolling compared to sharpshooting. When you're trolling, you're not very often trolling at 3.5 to 5 miles an hour, so you're covering more water like this. Now granted, your hook's not in the water, you can't catch fish with your hook not in the water, but you could also troll around aimlessly for hours, and if you're not on top of them, it's not really going to matter. So patience is definitely the key for the 5th tip. Now let's go see if we can hunt down a bigger fish to end this video, because right now it's got a bunch of tips and just some wee little Lakers. Well, with my head camera dying, that is going to wrap up this video. Yeah, look at it's flat calm now. Big difference between my last clip. I caught a couple more small ones, but I fished for a total of, I think, like 8 hours today, and I only caught like 6-7 Lakers total. Nothing bigger than like 31-32 inches, which I had snagged him by the boat, so he doesn't even count really. It was a tougher day in terms of lake trout fishing, but that like really shows you why tip number 5 is that important with the whole patience thing. You just got to be patient and put your time in, because when it's on, but when it's off, it's off. As my good buddy Mac Mulligan said, the highs are high and the lows are low. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, get outside.